going on, man? This is Coach Tex from DFW Penguins, DFW Penguin Basketball. And today's topic is going to be different types of coaches. Okay? Now, there are so many different types of coaches, and I can have a full list of those types and tell you how to combat them as a player and as a parent. But today I'm just going to talk about three, okay? Now, these are not in a particular order of importance, but these are just three types of probably about 25 or 30 that I can name in different ways. So today I'm going to tell you about these certain three types and three ways to combat them or to get the best out of your situation as a player or a parent dealing with coaches like these. And this is very important for a player to understand these types of coaches and what they look for and what you're going to get out of them. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the drill sergeant coach. Now, when I say a drill sergeant coach, I'm talking about those types of coaches that they just yell commands, they yell at you to push you, they yell at you, they might even curse at you or say certain things to degrade you sometimes. And every coach is different, just like every person is different. And every drill sergeant coach is different. These types of coaches mainly are this way because one is probably one of four things. But one, they don't know how to coach the game, so they think coaching is yelling, is pushing commands, is scolding kids, which, I mean, you can get something out of those guys. You can get something out of players that way, but a lot of times not. And mainly, most guys that stay on teams like this, that are teams by choice, not like your school coach, but like summer league teams or spring league teams or whatever you may be, AAU team. Most guys that stay on teams like this, with coaches that are drill sergeant coaches that don't know what they're doing, is because either they don't know that they can find a better coach like that, or they have no choice based on their situation. Which I don't feel like drill sergeant coaches can, they can help a kid develop and get better. Another reason why I coach is like this is because this is the way he was taught growing up. Like myself, when I was younger, I started playing basketball in the 6th grade. My first couple of coaches, that's all they did was make us run, and they yelled at us and cursed at us and stuff, and we thought that was the norm. They didn't teach us anything about X's and O's. He never explained certain situations or certain ways to do things in the game, because I think it's just mainly because he didn't know it. And two, that's probably how he was coached as a kid. So, these coaches grow up thinking that yelling at a kid and cursing at him and pushing him and, degrading him or calling him names or whatever it may be, they think that works. But a lot of times, that's not the case. That's not how you develop a kid. It's always good. Like with me, myself, if I yell at a kid, it's giving direction because the gym is loud, or giving direction because this kid may not have heard me or he's not listening and I have to yell. But if I do yell a lot of times, it's instruction. It's not just yelling at a kid for nothing, or just yelling at him to yell or fill up the air with noise. Does that make sense? So, example is if if I'm calling out a certain play, or if I say, hey, backdoor cut, or hey, pick up your man, or something of that nature, or if hey Bobby, you need to pick up, man, tighten up, make sure you face guard that guy. But I'm yelling at to make sure he knows, or I just might yell his name. Maybe I told him to do something in a huddle and he's forgetting to do that, and I might yell his name to remind him. It's not, hey, Bobby, you're a piece of crap, like you're horrible. What are you doing out there? You're playing like a blank, blank, blank. That's a totally different thing, right? Now, as a player, you got a few options, okay? Now, if you're in a situation where you're with a coach like this and you have no choice because your mother wants you to play on this team or whatever it might be, you might be fully committed and your mother paid for you to play on this team and you can't get out of it. All you can really do with this coach, because a lot of times going up to him and asking him questions, he's not going to know what to tell you, and he's going to be frustrated when you come and ask him stuff. So you just got to do what he's telling you to do and tune it out at the same time. So don't take it personal. So when he gets on you or he's yelling at you, just ride it out. Okay, coach. Okay. One of my players, he's been with me for a long time. When I get on him, okay, even if it's the slightest thing, he just says, okay, what can you say as a coach back to a kid like that other than maybe elaborating it? But if you continue, okay, coach, okay. Not, okay, coach, you're right. Okay, no, okay, okay. And that'll end it. And you go on to the next play, right? If you're one of the kids that he dislikes on the team or he doesn't play that much, only thing you can do is just play better and do what he's trying to get you to do. Even if a lot of times these coaches don't know what they're telling you to do, they don't know what to do. If they're telling you something wrong, let's say you've been on the team with a coach that's told you how to do something correctly or that you thought was the correct way to do it, and this other coach does it the total opposite way. Do it the way that coach tells you to do it if you want to succeed on his team, right? And the only other option I can think of, number 2, is to just get off of the team. Because a lot of times with coaches like this, it's their way or the highway. There's nothing you can do. They're going to continue to yell at you because that's what they know, and that's all they can do, right? The second type of coach I'm going to talk about today is the I love the game coach. This is the type of coach that is a sports fanatic, okay? He may or may not have played at a high level. He may have never played basketball past the 8th grade B team or C team, but he loves basketball, okay? And he is continuing to love basketball through trying to coach and help kids. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that since he loves basketball, he knows the game, right? He may know the game, but he may not know how to actually coach it or communicate things as a coach with his team, right? So it's kind of a gift and a curse. As a parent, you got to recognize what type of person this kid is or this guy is for your kid. So number one thing you need to know about coaches that are one of those love for the game coaches. A lot of times, he is not going to be able to help you individually as a player. He's not going to be able to teach you certain things because he may not have a background of playing at a high level to be able to tell you, hey, you need to work on coming off ball swings. Hey, you need to fix your form on your shot. Let me show you how to do this. Hey, when you come off a screen and roll, you can come off like this and the tight and make a pocket pass here. He doesn't understand. He may know jargon, but he doesn't know how to communicate jargon and other things in basketball. So number one thing you have to know as a parent and as a player, if your son is playing for one of those I love the game coaches, it may look like he knows what he's doing because he can talk to you about basketball, what's going on in the NBA, what's going on with the college game, blah, 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 blah. And he may know plays, but he may not know different ways to communicate the play and different threads in these plays to make it better. And he's definitely a lot of times not going to be good at in-game situations with games if they're tight. He's not going to know how to just draw up something off the top of his head, communicate guys, put guys in a certain place or where to be, and make the play successful. Because he loves the game, but he doesn't really have a natural feel for it. He may study the game, but he still does not know. We're talking about youth coaches here now. He does not really know how to communicate certain things in different situations, and he definitely a lot of times, in a lot of cases, cannot develop your son or develop you into the player that you really want to be individually to be better for your team, your school team, or even the team that he's on. Okay? Now, the third one I'm going to talk about. Like I said, there are many other types of coaches that are out there, but we're just going to talk about these 3 today. Okay? The third is the dad coach. Now, there are many different types of dad coaches, and the types of coaches they can be are surely based on their motivation for their own son. right? You got dad coaches that have played at a high level and their son is good. You got dad coaches that have played at a high level and their son is horrible, right? You got dad coaches that their son is the best kid on the team. You got dad coaches where their son is the worst kid on the team. You got dad coaches that they're difficult on their own son, and they make basketball hard on their own son. You got coaches that make things hard on their own son on their team just to prove a point to other kids on the team. There's a bunch of different dynamics of that. You got some coaches, and this is the smartest type of dad coach. If I'm a dad coach, and a lot of times if you're a smart dad coach, you know the main thing that other parents are worried about, especially if your kid is the best player on the team, is, are you showing favoritism? So sometimes dad coaches do these things, will do this in order to disguise or fake the advantage that they're giving their son over other kids on the team. So a good example is, if everyone knows let's say my son, I have a son, right? And he's the best player on the team, hands down. In order for me as a coach to not look like I'm giving my son extra perks, I won't start him, right? He won't start the game. But 4 minutes in, he'll come in and finish out the rest of the half. Or, I may not even start him, or I may not play him as much, but when he's in, I'm calling all the plays offensively for him to get shots out of, right? And, like I said, there's a bunch of different types of coaches, dad coaches out there. But the one you want to avoid is the coach that is kind of like the drill sergeant coach and the dad coach. Because some of those guys, man, I tell you, they could care less about anybody else on their team, anybody else's development, but their own son. And they want to win games. All they care about is winning games and their son looking good. So if I'm a player and I'm on a team like this, if I'm a player, I need to recognize that the coach is favoring the son. So if I'm a player, I want to compete with the son at practice, so the coach can directly see that I'm able to keep up with this guy. So if you do in drills, I will try to get with that guy all the time and do drills with him. In games, know what's going on with the kid. Is this dad's son playing well? Okay, if I'm a point guard and the son is a two guard, look for him for shots, things of that nature. Now, this may sound crazy me saying this, but I'm talking about an aspect of, I'm a kid on this team and there's nothing I can do about it during this season. Okay? And the main thing you want to do as a player is just know the dynamic of your coach and your dad coach and what he's about. Is he about winning? Is he about his son getting a lot of points? Is he about his son, running the team? Does his son know the game? Does his son understand that his dad is like this? Because a lot of guys, you have guys on the team, they understand that their dad, all they care about is their dad. And a lot of guys, the kid can't control that his father is only worried about him on the team. So some of these guys, they're not bad guys because their dad is the coach of the team, but they know what's going on. So you might even ask, like, hey, man, what do you think your dad is going to be doing today? Like, what are we working on today? Or even the kid may even tell you, like, hey, hey, I'm not, you might walk up to the kid, hey, Bobby, I'm not getting as much playing time as I want. Like, what do you think your dad needs? What do you think your dad thinks I need to work on? You could play it to your advantage that way. As a parent, it's kind of rough because, it could be a gift and a curse. You never know. Like I said, the only thing you can do about, playing for a dad coach team, which a lot of teams are dad coach these days, is recognize the coach's motive with the team. Does he want to win? Does he want his son to play well? And he doesn't care about winning or losing. Is he pushing his son? Is he trying to disguise his son as a priority? And when he's not, disguise his son that he's not a priority when he is. All of these different things come into play. But the main thing you want to do is, the main type of dad coach, if you do have no choice but to play for a dad coach team, is to find a dad coach that actually cares about the other kids on the team as well as his son. Because, period, like, you kids watching this, if you have a son, you're going to care about your son more than anybody else on the team. That's a given. But how far are you taking it? Like, do you still care about little Bobby and Ricky and Mike on the team other than little Tex? Right? You know, just as much. Like, do you care about them playing well? Do you care about them getting better? If you're on a dad coach team where he seems and you see the effort at him, yeah, he's pushing his son. Yeah, he may show his son a little favoritism. But does he still care about you? That's what you want to look for. Which I've coached a bunch of different games, and you can definitely tell when you have those type of coaches that don't care about anybody else on a team but their own son and what their own son does. Okay? And those are the type of dad coach teams you want to avoid. Now, there are many other coaches that we could have talked about today, but this is going over those three. So just to recap, the drill sergeant coach, okay, that yells with no purpose. All you got to do is just try to do what he's telling you to do, even though it's right or wrong, and go along with it and compete and do the best you can if you have no choice. The love for the game coach, he's not going to help you develop a lot of times, because a lot of times those guys, they don't really know how to develop you individually. They might know the game and stuff and to be able to talk to you about basketball and college basketball and all that stuff and give you a little insight, but he's not going to be able to help you develop individually. And then you got the dad coach, which, man, there are so many different variables with dad coaches. I could talk on a whole nother video about that, but you just got to know as a player, what is your dad coach? What is his motive? Like, and you got to just ride that out, man, and try to do the best you can with it, because unfortunately, you know, some of these club coaches, even their dad coaches. So at the end of the day, you might be on this super, AAU team or something, and the coach's son is on the team. So is he the best player on the team or not? What is he looking for? What is your role on the team? And is it going to hinder you from reaching your goals as a player, to get better over summer, spring, or whatever, going into school ball? So if you guys have any questions, you can DM me on my Instagram at Penguinhoops. Also, email me at penguinhoopstv@gmail.com if you have any questions, man. Other than that, man, hey, if you want to avoid having to deal with any of that, come on over here to the Penguins, man. All right. I'll see you guys later, man. Take it easy.